I'm Bambi Francisco for Vader TV. Well, there's a lot of activity in the enterprise management sector, from VC investing to acquisitions. And one company that's positioned to benefit from all of this activity is Cittio. And joining me to talk about Cittio is founder and CEO Jamie Lerner. Jamie, thanks for joining us.
Sure, thanks, Bambi.
Jamie, your company provides enterprise system monitoring or enterprise management. What is that exactly?
You know, at a high level, basically we discover and monitor the performance of all the computing equipment and network equipment of large companies, mainly to make sure that all the systems that depend on the network and depend on the computers run and are healthy and are working normally.
The internet has certainly changed a lot of the way systems are being monitored, I'm sure. How has the internet changed the consumption of your services or tools?
Sure. I mean, we've seen a couple trends. You know, one of the biggest trends we're seeing is just the sheer proliferation of IP addresses. I would say 10 years ago, our main task was monitoring servers, routers, and switches that were in a enterprise data center. Now we're seeing IP addresses going out to many, many locations. So what the internet's done is allowed people to inexpensively connect many locations. And so now you're seeing computer equipment outside of data centers. We're seeing computer equipment in stores. We're seeing point-of-sale terminals that were network attached. We're seeing a huge amount of applications available in kiosks, available in handhelds, available wireless access points are enabling people to get access where they normally couldn't. We're seeing barcode scanners being internet-enabled. We're seeing engines and drilling rigs and transportation equipment. All of them have IP addresses. And so with that, the challenge to monitor your whole IT environment, which used to be contained in a nice little data center with a lock on the door, is now spread out across hundreds of locations, spread out worldwide. And so the challenges of an IT department to monitor all their computing equipment is just greater than it ever has been before.
Now, are they revamping their systems, their management or monitoring systems right now? Or are they kind of slow to pull the trigger?
Yeah, I think you're seeing a huge change in the whole way monitoring is looked at. I think in a data center, you would put in very expensive equipment. It would remain there for a long time. And so if it took a while to set up, it didn't really matter because it would run for quite a long time. Now you're seeing companies adding point-of-sale terminals, adding wireless access points, virtualizing servers. So the rate of change within an IT department is greater than it's ever been. So the older late-stage adoption monitoring tools that were very labor-intensive, quite frankly, just don't work. And so you're seeing a lot of people transitioning to tools like Cittio's Watchtower that automates this process. So it automates finding all these new things on the network and automates monitoring them, and then adapts to changes. So let's say, a company like Pizza Hut opens up a new store, or Mervyn's closes a store and opens a new one, or reconfigures their store. They don't have to go into Watchtower by hand and reconfigure it. It'll actually automatically detect and adapt to those changes, basically saving them a lot of time and money.
Now, you mentioned Mervyn's, that's one of your customers, as well as some large ones like T. Rowe Price, and so you're getting out there and actually finding and landing these big customers, but you compete with HP's, IBM's, and BMC's, which have a larger sales force out there. So are you partnering with them as a distribution partner to help you to sell your products, or essentially how are you competing with them?
Well, in multiple ways. I mean, there are many cases where someone's made a huge investment in some of IBM's software or BMC or CA's software, and we'll coexist with those, so that we might say, okay, you've set those systems up to monitor the data center, fine. We'll monitor all the edge devices, or there's other cases where someone just looks at not only the massive maintenance expense, but the massive IT resources, just people expense of keeping these old-fashioned systems running, and very often they will actually retire those systems and put in Watchtower instead, mainly just to cut down on yearly maintenance fees and to cut down on just all the sheer manpower to keep them running.
Now, I mentioned earlier there's a lot of activity, there's lots of M&A activity in your space. You and I were speaking earlier, maybe 40 acquisitions in the space of your potential competitors. So how do you balance, and what do you think about when you consider maybe being a standalone, or maybe really growing faster by being part of a larger company?
You just have to evaluate those opportunities as they arise. I've had companies in the past that we knew that by combining it with someone, we could do things that we could never do on our own. So you have to look at your ability to grow organically versus the ability to attach to it. How much time, how much cost, how much risk do you assume by building your own sales force, your own distribution mechanism, or how much do you gain by combining with another companies? And you just have to look at the opportunities as they arise and evaluate them individually.
You've been around since 2001. What's
Right.
your revenue and how quickly are you growing?
Well, the company grew 800% last year. You know, revenues are up above 10 million. We're growing very quickly. We've got all the traditional challenges you have as a small company growing very quickly, but I think it's all a sign that I think a lot of people are re-looking at their traditional monitoring systems and looking for an automated, adaptive approach.
Okay, so you've raised about $16 million. You're probably going to, given all the activity, you're probably going to go for another round, maybe your Series C
certainly.
over the next year. So, are you considering are you looking to raise funds over the next year?
It's conceivable. I mean, I think raising money to propel growth is something you always do. I mean, you raise money in really two scenarios, right? You're doing better than you thought and you need more money, or you're doing worse than you thought and you need more money, but usually you're in a situation where you need more money. In our case, the company's growing really quickly, and I think we can fuel it even faster with more money. So it's something, one of the top jobs of the CEO is to bring in the cash and make sure the company's fueled and has a big air hose. So that's what we're
Well, would you
doing.
consider, I mean, if you're looking for money, would you consider an acquisition?
I think you always, part of your job is, I report to a board. We have investors. Investors want to be able to get out, want to be able to make money, and we certainly have to look at all those opportunities. Again, I don't think companies are sold. I think they're bought. So, as we get approached, we evaluate those opportunities and think about each one individually.
Okay. Well, good luck to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
I've been speaking with Jamie Lerner. He's the founder and CEO of Cittio. I'm Bambi Francisco.